Senator Griffo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it was important that that was read because this is a significant milestone in this college's history. I also want to recognize, as I begin some brief remarks today, in attendance with us is the 16th president of the State University of New York at Potsdam, Dr. Kristen Esterberg. Dr. Esterberg, if you would please rise. Along with her are several students and members of the staff. If you will all rise, maybe we can give them a round of applause. Thank you all for being here today. I want to thank you again, too, Dr. Esterberg, for all of your leadership during your beginning of your tenure at Potsdam State. You have many challenges, but you have an extraordinary, talented staff. You are very energetic, and I know you possess the passion and the resources within you to have a great presidency and to do some great things for this college. So we're proud of you and Potsdam State. And I thank you for being with us today. This is an important part of the North Country. We heard today about Fort Drum, a very valuable military asset for our nation. Likewise, at the State University of New York at Potsdam, they play a significant role in the growth and the development throughout the North Country economically. They are an outstanding college with an outstanding mission. They have done so many good things over time. One of the greatest things we recognize Potsdam for is the Crane School of Music, which was formed in 1886 by Julia Crane, one of the first public institutions dedicated to the teaching of music in the state of New York. They play a pivotal role in educating many well-known classical performers, some of which I would just mention Renee Fleming, who's an operatic soprano with the New York City Opera and the Metropolitan Opera, as well as, and she's performed at the Super Bowl. I think it was Super Bowl 48. Stephanie Blythe, a mezzo-soprano, another regular performer at the Met. And Lisa Vroman, a well-known performer who is recognized for her performances in the Phantom of the Opera and has a number of other stage credits on Broadway. There are many other alumni worthy of merit because the college has produced many outstanding scholars and athletes and talented musicians over the years. In 2014, we had the honor of unveiling a 97,000 square foot performing arts center. With the help of this body, we were able to find those resources to put into capital, thanks to the leadership of our higher education chairman, Senator Lavelle, those type of enhancements that allow SUNY Potsdam to continue to grow and to continue its contributions to the world of entertainment and the arts. Some of the notable alumni, other notable alumni that I want to recognize today. Eileen Welly, who's the Executive Vice President of Human Resources at NBC Universal. The former coach of the Providence Friars, Tim Walsh, who reached the NCAA tournament several times under his direction, and now a college basketball analyst for ESPN, who I may add are in the other chamber as we speak as they debate a bill that we had here previously. Also, Stephen Savoia, a two-time Pulitzer Prize winning photographer for the Associated Press. These are some of the great alumni. Two others are in this chamber, Senator David Valesky and Senator Patty Ritchie, both distinguished alumni of the university. So today, it's an honor to have you here, Dr. Esterberg, along with the students and other staff at Potsdam, to be here so we can recognize this bicentennial, all the things that you have done over time to create an academic presence of excellence. You are well-renowned not only for what you do as a higher education institution, but what you mean to the people who attend the college, who work at the college, and to the North Country. So I just commend you. Happy 200, by the way. Potsdam is the oldest unit of the 64 campuses, but you still look pretty good. So God bless you. Happy bicentennial. Look forward, and thanks for being here today. And Mr. President, I ask that we extend the courtesies of the House to the President and the students and faculty and staff that are here.
The Senate welcomes you, and we extend our congratulations and all the courtesies of the House. The Senator has asked that the resolution be opened up for co-sponsorship. If anyone does not wish to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes. Could you also take up previously adopted resolution 3624 by Senator Espaillat, read it in entirety, and call on Senator Espaillat.
Secretary will read.
Legislative Resolution Number 3624 by Senator Espaillat, commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York, Inc. on March 22, 2016. Whereas it is the custom of this legislative body, in keeping with its time-honored traditions, to recognize and pay tribute to those organizations which foster ethnic pride and enhance the profile of cultural diversity, which strengthens the fabric of the communities of New York State. And whereas, attended to such concern in full accord with its long-standing traditions, this legislative body is justly proud to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York, to be celebrated on Tuesday, March 22, 2016. And whereas, for over 5 decades, the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York has fostered a spirit of unity, sportsmanship, and cultural pride for Dominicans living in the Washington Heights neighborhood of Manhattan and beyond. And whereas, with a long history of immigration to the United States dating back to the arrival of Juan Rodriguez in New Amsterdam in 1613, the successive generations of Dominicans have come to America in search of prosperity and to begin new lives. Whereas, however, after the fall of the regime of Rafael Leanda Trujillo Molina in the 1960s, many Dominicans emigrated to the United States in order to escape the widespread political persecution and social instability happening at the time of the Dominican Republic. And whereas, forced away from their loved ones to settle in New York City boroughs of the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, many Dominicans face the challenges of an unfamiliar language, cultural customs, food, and climate, as well as longing for what they had left behind. And whereas, as a large number of Dominican immigrants began to settle in Washington Heights, one group of friends and domino game lovers began to create an organization for maintaining the cultural roots, which converged on weekends at different apartments. And whereas, at a meeting in the summer of 1964, a firm decision was made to form a social club to play dominoes and other games emulating models established at the time in the Dominican Republic. The first interim board consisted of President Eduardo Well, Vice President Eduardo Pereiro, Treasurer Ramon de la Hoz, Victor Gill, Luis Cepeda, Conrad Guzman, Rafael Diaz, and Rafael Innocent. And whereas on March 23, 1966, this new institution was incorporated in the New York State Capitol in Albany, New York, as a Dominican Sports Club. A permanent club location was selected at 2186 Amsterdam Ave, and its members also established statutes and rules to govern the handling of its operations under its first president, Eduardo Bueno. And whereas, as members continued to grow, the Dominican Sports Club began to encourage its members to assess and understand their homeland from a new social perspective. The organization also welcomed its first partners, Geraldo Espinal, Ramon Garcia, Mario Jose Nuez, Francisco Perez, Octavio Jimenez, Jose Rodriguez, Miguel Piano, Salvador Garcia, and Rafael Vargas. And whereas, over the years, the Dominican Sports Club, now the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York, Inc., has remained steadfast in its commitment to helping its countrymen express themselves and channel their energies in a spirit of friendship and cultural pride, while also striving to make a difference in the Dominican immigrant community. And whereas today, the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York is not only respected for its achievements in traditional sports activities like dominoes, but is also known for fostering great athletes in such disciplines as softball, bowling, billiards, ping pong, and karate. And whereas the success of the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York is in its direct correlation to efforts of its members and staff, whose involvement is and always has been characterized by an impressive commitment and unbridled enthusiasm and an uncompromising standard of excellence in all endeavors on behalf of this institution and the community it serves. And whereas it is a sense of this legislative body that when cultural organization of such noble aims and accomplishments are brought to our attention, they should be celebrated and recognized by all citizens of this great Empire State. Now, therefore, be resolved that this legislative body pauses deliberations to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York, noting the significance of its unremitting efforts and wishing the organization continued success for many years to come. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution suitably engrossed be transmitted at the Dominican Cultural and Sports Center of New York.
Senator Espaillat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise. Unfortunately, we rose today heavy in heart with the events that occurred in Brussels, but we moved forward and we received men and women of the armed forces here, and of course another presentation made from an academic institution in New York State, and it's telling that a nation is not just bounded by its boundaries; it's made up of its people, and therefore we move forward as a nation and we recognize those that have done well for our state and our country. And so we recognize the armed forces, academia, and now I stand to recognize community. And by that I mean Club Deportivo Cultural Dominicano, which celebrates tomorrow on the 23rd, its 50th anniversary. That is a sports and cultural club that engages the community in sports activity from softball to bowling to karate. They also engage in domino and other games and engage families in a day-to-day effort to ensure that they do the right thing. And so they've been around for 5 decades, a half a century, and that is telling. And that contributes also in many ways to strengthening the state and the country, to strengthening communities across New York City and this great state. And so they're here, I believe, for the first time. It is a fitting day for them to be here as they celebrate their 50th anniversary. And they have been right in the middle of the community. They have been community-based and provided day-to-day activities for people that come from the Dominican Republic, from all walks of life, from the Caribbean. They go to Club Deportivo Cultural Dominicano and they engage in positive activities. They strengthen our communities. And they are here represented by the current president, Milagros Vasquez, a woman who's here with us today. Also, the secretary, Santiago Cruz, is here. And the governor of the club is Cristina Rodriguez. And also, welcome the 3 ladies here. Sandra Espaillat, yes, Espaillat, who was the president, the first woman president in 2006. In addition to them, we have in the balcony a healthy delegation from the club with several of the past presidents, including Juan Morales Santana from 1993. You have also Salvador Espaillat, 2003. You have Daniel Martinez from 2010. You have Jorge Reynoso from 2004. Pedro Nieves, 2007. Dries Pimentel, 2015. Silvestre Acevedo, Daniel Martinez, and Carlos Lerdan. These are the former presidents that are here for this very important institution, which today is 50 years old. And so we're happy to have them here, Mr. President. We hope that you extend them the courtesies of this House. Thank you.
Senator Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I go back to history. Today, this great Dominican who sits to my right, this great Dominican, Senator Adriano Espaillat, is bringing today to this chamber members of the Club Deportivo Cultural Dominicano, because they are celebrating 50 years of life, half a century. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the Dominican community is a very strong and faithful community. Not 50 years ago. Today, the Dominican community has power, political power, in the state, in the city of New York, not 50 years ago. Today, the Dominican community counts with senators, assembly members, city council members, judges, lawyers, all kinds of personalities in different stage of life, but not 50 years ago. Today, the Dominican community is looked up to for every elected candidate for elected official for their support, but not 50 years ago. Today, the Dominican community is part of any political issue of anything that is done in the city of New York, but not 50 years ago. What am I saying not 50 years ago, Mr. President? Because 50 years ago, there was no known, but there was groups like the Club Deportivo Cultural Dominicano 50 years ago when nobody was around, when Espaillat was not around, when Senator Diaz was not around, with no senators, with no judges, with no assembly members, with no city council members, the Club Deportivo Cultural Dominicano was there, fighting, opening doors, taking all the heat, opening doors for the Dominican community today could have such a strong position. So therefore, Mr. President and ladies and gentlemen, we have to honor, we have to recognize groups like the Club Cultural Dominicano and the past presidents that have been fighting the good fight and that has been opening doors for the Dominican community. Today, we're here celebrating 50 years. 50 years. Adriano, I don't know where were you 50 years ago. But 50 years ago, the Club Cultural Dominicano was fighting the good fight. And today, to the Madam President, and to the governor, and to the secretary, and to all you past presidents, let me tell you two paragraphs from the Himno Nacional Dominicano. It says like that, Quisqueyanos valientes alcemos, nuestro canto con viva emoción, y del mundo a la faz ostentemos nuestro invicto glorioso perdón. Ningún pueblo ser libre merece si es esclavo indolente y serviz, si en su pecho la llama no crece, que tembló el heroísmo viril. A ustedes, hombres y mujeres dominicanos, que han peleado la buena batalla, que han sabido luchar y abrir puertas, Dios los bendiga, Dios los guarde. To you, Dominican men and women that have been fighting the good fight, that have been opening doors for 50 years, God bless you all. Thank you for coming here today, and thank you, Senator Espaillat, for bringing this magnificent Club Deportivo Cultural Dominicano to this chamber in its 50 years anniversary. God bless you. Thank you, Mr. President.
The Senate welcomes you and congratulates you on your 50th anniversary and extends to you all the courtesies and privileges of the House. Senator DeFrancisco.
I just had a question. How many years has it been?
I believe the senator
okay.
stated 50, Senator DeFrancisco.
Okay, the Senator Espaillat has opened this for co-sponsorship to the entire
The resolution is open for co-sponsorship. If you do not want to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk.
Now, can we go back to take up the one bill on the controversial calendar?
Secretary will ring the bell.
There you go. Do you know Lisa? Do you know Lisa?
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 221 by Senator Laval, Senate Print 1442A, an act amending the education law.
Senator Kruger. Senator Laval.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Could you bring this over to Senator Kruger? So, as many of you know, there are several configurations for the formation of a school district. There's a less than 8 teacher called a common school district. There is union free and a central high school district, as well as a central district. We're talking here about a central high school district. There are central high school districts in Nassau County, and during my tenure here, we created Central High School District in Suffolk County. So in other parts of the state, central high school districts, not to be confused with centralized districts, are formed. This legislation, and I gave to Senator Kruger a map of the South Fork of my district, and we're talking basically about East Moriches and going forward. And we have many districts that are either common school districts or union-free districts. I've been a leader in the state in reorganization and trying various ways of getting school districts to come together, to join together in an efficient way. In Suffolk County, as I had indicated, we have the Central High School District Law, and again, it's in Nassau County. I don't believe exists anyplace else in the state. And we specifically talk about the districts that potentially would like to come together in a central high school district. Those districts are either common school districts or union-free. So we list them here. Why do we do that? Because the Assembly, in discussions, wanted to know, they thought there was some clandestine reason that we had indicated that the districts not be contiguous. But if you see the map, there are districts that would like to, if you look at the legislation, they're not contiguous, but would like to join together in an organizational structure called a Central High School District. And that's it. It's very straightforward. We believe that reorganization does two things. In some cases, saves money, but we also know that it provides a good education or a better education that those districts can offer rather than stay on their own. So that's it, Senator.
Senator Kruger?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. President, if the sponsor would yield.
Will the sponsor yield?
Of course.
So I want to thank
Sponsor will yield.
I want to thank the sponsor for the explanation and the map. I also actually got some maps printed out for me because I knew we'd be talking geography, and I always need maps for that. So I appreciate the explanation of the Suffolk law and what is a central school district for high schools. What I don't understand is, why do you need this bill to allow non-contiguous school districts to combine? Is there a problem with contiguous school districts combining?
Senator Lavelle.
They could do that already, through you, Mr. President. They could do that already. But right now, as I'm working, my sleeves rolled up with these districts, they're listed there because those are districts that would like to come into some potential configuration called a central high school district.
Through you, Mr. President, if the sponsor would
Will
continue
the sponsor
to yield.
continue to yield? The sponsor will yield.
So this bill lists out quite a few school districts in your section of Suffolk County. Can all of them become one central school district under this bill if they want?
No, Senator,
Yeah.
Through the chair, Mr. President.
I keep repeating myself because there's a reason. We are not creating a centralized district.
Central high school.
We are creating, or would like to create, a central high school district.
Through you, Mr. President, the sponsor is correct. I misspoke. Under this bill, can all of the districts listed form one central high school?
So will the sponsor continue to yield for a question?
Under
Senator Lavelle.
my original bill,
Senator Lavelle, will you continue to yield for a question?
I do.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. President.
I think he
Senator
Under
Kruger.
my original bill,
Yes.
the answer would have been broader than the districts listed here, but the Assembly wanted to line out the specific districts. So these districts are itemized in the legislation, but would not include districts on the North Shore, Shelter Island, Fisher's Island, way up at the top of your map, that is closest to Connecticut than it is to the parent town of Southold. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Assembly felt more comfortable knowing what the districts are.
Through you, Mr. President, the sponsor will continue to yield.
Will the
Yes.
sponsor yield for a question?
Thank you.
Yes.
So
Proceed.
yes, I see on the map and from the bills the list of the groups of the different school districts that might be interested in creating a central high school. Yes, one question for you, Mr. President, is the senator talking with all the school districts listed in the bill about combining for one high school, or is it some subset, in which case why aren't those districts itemized out within the state?